They keep making me come to Spain to ride new Triumphs. The new Street Cup and the new Street Scrambler right here. The bobber used the high power engine. This is a 1200cc. This one uses the engine from the Street Twin, the 900cc high torque motor it's called. And we really like the motor in the Street Twin. It only makes 54 horsepower, but it makes a bunch of torque really low. And it's with all these bikes, they're trying to make accessible bikes that are easy for people to ride, for beginners to ride, which is not to say that they're not a lot of fun for experienced people to ride. The Street Cup is a little different. It's got a kind of a racy tail section. They call it kind of their mini Thruxton, which is kind of what it feels like. It's on the Street Twin, we were on curvy roads last year. It's pretty easy to drag the pegs and stuff. But we were going at a pretty sporty pace on this thing. I didn't see anybody drag anything. And we were cruising with Triumph's test rider engineer David Lopez here in Spain, and we were going pretty good. And this thing is really a fun little bike to ride. It's not going to set the world on fire with horsepower, but it's kind of fun to ride a slower bike fast. And this thing has a great little chassis. Compared to the Street Twin, the shocks are a little bit longer, so it raises the rear a little bit. It's a little bit steeper. The bars are a little lower up here, so it puts a little more weight on the front end. It's a better sport bike. It's a lot of fun to ride. Yeah, so it's got a little bit steeper rake, a little bit less trail, a little bit sportier handling bike. Weight-wise, they claim 441 pounds for it dry. I checked with our Street Twin. After we got it back, it weighed about 39 pounds more wet than their claim dry. So this thing's probably going to weigh about 480, which is not exactly light, but it's lighter than the old Bonnevilles used to be. Yeah, and it's going to be about $10,500, which is not exactly cheap either. The Street Scrambler, we were on this thing for a day. We actually took it off-road a little bit. Again, it's the high torque motor. This thing they put on 17-inch wheels to give it that cool look. Spoke wheels. I'm going to assume there's tubes inside the Torrance tires. It gets the high pipes. Gets a higher handlebar. They claim for a weight on it 453 pounds dry, so that's probably going to be about 490 when you put gas in it and all the other fluids. It must have a lot of other fluids. I don't know what they are, but that's like 26 pounds less than their old Scrambler, and you can feel it off-road. We did do a little bit of a dirt section, and overall the new chassis, the new frame that these bikes share, this one's a little different, but they're basically the same. It feels a lot more rigid and a lot more tight than it used to, and you can feel that on pavement and off-road too, so it's a big improvement. And the high torque engine is a really good off-road engine, it feels like to me. It makes a lot of torque. You don't really rev it up a lot. It's got traction control, ABS. You can switch them off and on, and it's really easy. Even I can switch it off and on, and I'm not very good at that. So yeah, it's easy to ride. This one's got longer shocks, so it's a little higher in back, but it's got the same 120 millimeters of travel. So it might be a little not as much travel as you want for a real off-road motorcycle, but it's a Scrambler. It's not for real off-road, it's for dirt roads. And on dirt roads, it's fine. I was with a lot of guys who were getting really sideways and really enjoying the thing. And with a 19-inch wheel on front, and they use longer fork tubes, I think 21 millimeters longer, so it raises the front, gives it more rake, more trail, so it's more stable. It's not going to turn as quick on the pavement, but it's much more stability in the dirt. And it works good, you can't complain. Yeah, both these bikes are, they feel like they're easier to ride, and if you're a beginner, and even if you're not, Triumph says that they're selling lots of these to people who aren't necessarily kids but are starting to ride for the first time, and it makes sense because they're all real easy to ride. The 5-speed transmissions are really good. The oil change, the service interval's up to 10,000 miles on these bikes, which sounds kind of abusive to me, but if that's what they say, that's nice too. They both get like 60 plus miles to a gallon of gas, which is pretty good. It's the modern age. There's a USB port, charge up your phone under the seat. of both of these bikes. I think you said I can't even keep track. There's like 120 official Triumph accessories for this one, and maybe 150 for the Street Scrambler, including a cool Vance & Hines exhaust pipe that's U.S. legal, and what do we call it over here? Euro 4 compliant and everything else. So yeah, there's tons of accessories. They got hats, t-shirts, all the stuff that you need. I think that's five new Bonnevilles in the last year. I think that's enough. I don't want to come back to Spain. Well, I don't mind. I'll come back to Spain anytime, but maybe not for a couple months. See you then. Read the story at Motorcycle.com.